The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone. Welcome to my Psychic Hour. I'm so pleased to have everyone here again this month, especially this month. I want to wish all of you a very happy holiday season. And I know that so many of you have put aside shopping expeditions and family parties and all kinds of commitments in order to be here with me this evening. And so for me, I am particularly thankful tonight that so many of you have decided to put the Psychic Hour with Sandy Anastasi first on your list and come and share this next hour of fun and psychic readings and inspiration and insights with me. So thank you so much for being here with me this evening. My friends, as we get started, I want to remind you of a few things, and I also have a few announcements. So if you would just bear with me for a couple of moments, we'll get started as soon as I have a chance to get through these few announcements. And I will, if you don't write them down fast enough, I'll announce it again at the end of the show. The first thing I want to talk about is real important. It is about some specials that I'm running on my website on sandyanastasi.com. And these things would make great Christmas presents for a family. But just in case you've missed them, because they do end this evening, and so that's something you aren't going to want to miss if you've been planning on it. The first special is a BOGO. That's buy one, get one free. And that is any MP3 audio download on my entire website. Now, if you buy one, the second one that you can delineate is for equal value or less. And in order to get that, you can connect with Lisa. That's at Lisa at LisaSAinc@AOL.com. That's a buy one, get one free if you buy any MP3 download. And the second BOGO, buy one, get one free, is even more dynamic because that has to do with my brand new MP4s. Folks, MP4s are video downloads. So we now have the capacity to do streaming video on all of my psychic development classes. And I'm offering, just to launch this and also as a great Christmas present to everyone, the opportunity to buy one, get one free. So for example, if you buy the MP4 for Psychic Development Level 1, you will automatically be able to order the MP4 video download for Psychic Development Level 2, and that second one will be free. And again, there is a section for that on the website, but if you have any difficulty at all, connect with Lisa, SAinc@AOL.com on that. And also remember that is only good for another 5 hours or I think 3 hours. At midnight tonight, that special goes away. So you need to get on the shtick if you want to take advantage of that really great special. Now, my third special that still is only on until midnight this evening is a 50% off. Oops, I had them backwards. The 50% off is for the MP4, the video downloads, and the second buy one, get one is for the, oh, how could I have missed this? The second buy one, get one isn't the MP4 at all. It's for the live class in Tampa. Oh my goodness, how could I forget that? So we have one buy one, get one for an MP3. That's the audio download, good until midnight tonight. We have 150% off for the MP4 video downloads. That's good on any video download until midnight tonight. And the second BOGO isn't an MP4. That was my bad. The second BOGO is for the actual live class. Wow, because that live class in Tampa this year is a whole new format. I'm doing a intensive, which will be 4 days long. So I'm offering levels 1 and 2 as a single class. It goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the dates on that are the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th of January. And the buy one, get one means that you get to pay for yourself. That's 2 classes. You get to pay for yourself, and you get to bring a friend for free. Wow, I almost forgot about that. Almost forgot. I'm glad I remembered it. And that's good again. That BOGO is good until midnight this evening. So please write those 3 down, and if any of them appeal to your Christmas list of people, please take advantage of that, because I've never run anything like this before. For me, those kinds of amazing discounts are really a first, and I'm very grateful to be able to offer them to you. So go ahead and sign up if any of those deals interest you. A couple of other quick announcements for later this month that I would like you to put on your calendar. The first is that on December 14th, that's just next weekend, folks, on Saturday night, we have a psychic fair that all of our graduating psychic development students will be putting on for you. All you need to do is to show up, and that's at the Sheraton West Shore Tampa Airport Hotel. And if you show up there at 7 o'clock, you are going to get a free psychic reading from some of the very, very best students that I have graduated. So you're going to love that. And on the 18th of December, write it on your calendar, you're not going to want to miss my Changing Times webinar. And just to give you a little bit of an insight into that, a lot of the things we're going to talk about tonight, I'm absolutely certain are tied into this whole concept of these changing times. We are really in the middle of a shift right now. The months of October, November, October saw all those eclipses. November saw Saturn, Pluto going direct, enormous shifts in the energy around us. The focus in your lives are changing. Folks, most people have so much going on in their lives right now that they're having difficulty taking note of the fact that everybody else is going through the same kinds of things that they are. But if you look around, you'll find out you're not the only one who's going through these disillusionments and going through a new goal setting and going through losing some of your favorite friends or relatives either to death or moving away, or just realizing you have nothing left in common. So we're all going through these enormous shifts, changes in our workplace, changes in where we are living. And along with those changes, those shifts, there's all of this uncertainty. Well, that's what my Changing Times webinar is going to be all about. The Changing Times webinar is about why this is happening, just what is happening, and what it is changing to. So my hope in that webinar is to give you the groundwork to prepare for the future. And there will be a meditation that I include in that webinar to help you to prepare and to be able to get those, I call them incomings for yourself, that help you to be in the right place at the right time to be able to create the world that you want to live in as we move into 2015. So it's really going to be quite an evening. I hope you can make it, and we'll get to speak with each other again then. So let's get on with tonight's Psychic Hour. And I want to jump right in. So Lisa, while I've been talking, have you been able to connect with a couple of people? Let me review the rules here, those of you who might be coming by for the first time here. When you look at your page, you'll see a microphone that's got a slash through it. That's me. I've muted you. I will unmute you if you're called on. There is also a place where there's a hand. My friends, if you have a question that you would like to ask of me, please raise your hand, and then Lisa will know to call on that person. She tries to take people pretty much in order, unless she sees somebody brand new, and then she often gives the new people a chance to jump in, knowing that they've never had a chance before. If you're shy and you're a little bit concerned with asking questions audibly and don't quite know how to use the mechanics that are here, feel free to connect with Lisa. She's in the chat room, and you can connect with her in the section that says questions. So if you ask your questions there, she'll get back to as many of those questions as she can answer too. So the beauty of the Psychic Hour with Sandy Anastasi is that you also get Lisa Freeman in the chat room. So without any further ado, I see a couple of hands up here already. Lisa, would you please call on one of those people so that we can address in this order: what you're grateful for this evening, what is your sun sign, and what is your primary question this evening.
Okay, I'm going to unmute Buffy. Buffy, you're unmuted.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me? Hello, good evening. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great. So is Lisa, I think. Yes, Lisa? She's Buffy, she's busy.
Yes, when I can find.
Oh, awesome.
Buffy,
Well, thank you guys for
speak with you.
Yes, no, thank you very much.
So what's the thing you most appreciate at this time in your life, Buffy?
You know, I'm in the Army. I've been in the Army for about 5 years, and I'm actually this week going to be able to go on leave and spend Christmas with my family for the first time since I've been in the Army. So I'm really looking forward to, these next upcoming weeks and being able to spend, because I've been overseas and I'm here like far away from them. So it'll be a really nice, visit with them. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm very thankful for that.
Hey, Buffy, I want you to know that as you're talking about that, I'm getting these chills just running over my whole body. And for me, that's a symbol that says that there's something very, very important and very special about this particular homecoming. So yes, it's the first homecoming in 5 years, but it's also a whole lot more than that. So
Awesome.
I hope you're going to be able to come back next month and tell me all about what it was.
I will. I definitely will. I'm looking forward to it. It's got, like you say, I feel good vibes around it this time around. So I'm thinking it's going to be a really nice visit.
It feels like it's life-changing, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
Buffy, what's your sun sign?
I'm an Aries, April 10th.
Oh, and what a great profession for a female Aries, being in the
Yes.
I absolutely love it. Aries, if you don't know it, folks, Aries is the sign of the soldier, literally. It's the sign we associate with the soldier. So you're just in the right place. And I always like to put this, what we call a horary chart, up on the screen when we do our psychic hour, because this chart will actually answer everybody's question who is here tonight. So I'm primarily using astrology to answer your questions, and also I have tarot cards in front of me, and also my guides channel information directly to me. And if you notice, right up here on the midheaven, that's what this line at the top of the chart is the sign Aries. So this horary chart for tonight talks about Aries, career and change of pattern and focus in the way the world sees you as paramount right now.
Awesome.
In the sign Aries, there's Uranus and the South Node. And now I'm probably do a little bit of astrological lingo you don't know. So I know that coming up right now and all around you and into the beginning of the year, options that presented themselves back in June of 2010 are coming back again. They're coming back. And don't put your head in the sand. See them and know that this is the decision you want to make. And be clear on it. Be clear on it. Okay? There are so many irons in the pan here. There's so many. And it's important for you to organize them to really get in touch with what you want and to take those steps in that direction. Okay? Now, do you have a very specific question you'd like answered?
I did have a very specific question. I mean, it's about a friendship / maybe relationship. It's rather complicated. With a friend of mine named Candace. Her birthday is January 16th, so she's a Capricorn. And it's just been, we actually haven't spoken in about 6 months or so, and it's been rather complicated. So I just wanted to see if your cards or your guides maybe had any kind of insight as to if we could get things resolved or move forward from here.
Buffy, I don't have good news for you, but you already know that, okay? What you're really doing is you're looking for confirmation of your own feelings. And here's the dilemma. Can I be very open here on this?
Yes.
Okay. Apparently, Candace is really an honest to God, good person. She's not a player. She's a nice gal. She's somebody where you really hit it off. You really have a lot in common. And you know in your heart, you are right, that this could be a very good relationship / friendship. Okay? The problem is that Candace has up the kazoo major family problems and crises that go on and on and on and on and never end. And so she is caught eternally between her family and anyone that she would take on as a one-on-one relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see, there's nothing wrong with Candace, but there's everything wrong with her family.
Mm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, although you are patient and you sit and wait and you have high hopes and you have deep caring and concern and you know this could be so special, all you do is sit and wait forever.
Right.
It never really comes about because every time things are just about to move forward, there's another family crisis. Okay?
Right. Yep.
So now I can't give you more than that. I can only tell you that that's what you're seeing right now. That's what
Mm-hmm.
you've seen for the last 5 years, and that's what you're going to keep seeing.
Okay.
One of the things that's so interesting, I pull cards myself every morning, and I have a deck that's put out by Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks. It's a
Mm-hmm.
create your own reality deck. And I
Yes.
pulled a card this morning, and I want to share it with you because I think that card was really meant for you. It says, you create your reality with your thoughts. Your world, your mind is creating your world. And you see, the people around you are doing the same thing. Each
Mm-hmm.
one is creating their world, and each one of these worlds is whole and complete. The problem is that when you turn too much of your attention to another person's world, you begin to attract the elements of their world into yours.
Mm-hmm.
Although we all have a right to create our own worlds, we really have to be concerned that we don't turn too much of our attention to those worlds that we really don't want to incorporate into our own.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
this apparently is one of them. So you've gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I want to be in your world. I don't. I want to be in your world. Nope. I want. And that situation doesn't change. It stays as is until you make the real decision. Because she
Mm-hmm. Okay. It
okay?
makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I wish you much luck there. And whatever you decide, remember, it is your decision. Okay?
Right.
But just be
Mm-hmm.
clear on it. Okay?
Right. Right. No, that
Thank you.
sounds really good. That all makes sense. Thank you so much, Sandy. I
Hey,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. And get back to me and let me know about all that great family stuff.
I definitely will. I'll definitely tune in next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And, you know, as we were coming into tonight's webinar, I had a couple of emails. I love this. I usually don't do this, but I had one in particular that was really so exciting. You know, I like you to hold your questions until we're actually online, which kind of makes it fair to everybody because everybody has a fair way of getting called on. Lisa, by the way, is a Libra, so you know that she's fair. Goes with the sign. But, you know, Lori Brooks had sent me a little question that I actually think appears that everybody online who has a pet that has passed is going to share in this question. So I'm going to share her question. First, Lori had asked, do pets, when they're coming through in a mediumship reading, do pets always have to come through with someone, or is it possible for them to come through on their own? And Lori, I want to share a little story here. Years and years ago, when my partner and I, John Mayers, owned Star Child, the bookstore, and this was when my good friend John Edwards was just getting started, and he came and he actually did one of his wonderful group seminars in my little tiny store, would you believe? And there he was. We were all sitting around in a circle, and there he was going around in the circle. And he's getting a person for this one and another deceased person for the next one. And he comes to me and he says, it's like I put my hand out and there's this Merlin the magician who's standing on my hand. And I have no idea why Merlin the magician is standing on my hand, but he just keeps saying he's sorry. And, you know, then all of a sudden there's a bird that's running away. Do you relate to that? And I just cracked up laughing, because Merlin was my deceased dog's name. And you see, John had never gotten animals up until that point. Now he gets animals all the time, and he gets them directly. But back then he didn't, until he came to my store, and my dog had just died. And there he was, appearing as Merlin the magician on John's hand to let him know, I'm the little Merlin. Okay, he was the dog, and that was his name. His name was Merlin. And what he was apologizing for with the bird running across the floor is a couple of years before he passed, he had accidentally ripped open the bill on my bird when they were both trying to eat out of the same dog dish. And here he was after death apologizing for harming the bird, who was okay, by the way, but for harming that bird. So the answer, Lori, do animals come through directly? Oh, absolutely they do. The only limitation on that is the medium. If the medium doesn't have the ability to accept that they can, then obviously they're going to have to find a way around it, like presenting themselves as Merlin the magician. And ever after that, John will get animals through exactly as they are, and they will talk to him just as a person does, only probably in a little bit more simplistic terms. So there's a really good answer to that question. And you also asked, is it possible that our deceased animal friends can come through the way people do and kind of give you symbols in the environment? Like Lisa always talks about her dad coming through on her birthday with a red rose for her. So, you know, Lori wants to know, is it possible that her deceased dog or cat could come through with a message for her by leaving something in the environment or putting something into her mind that's a memory? Of course, absolutely, of course. The veil is just as thin for our family pets as it is for our deceased loved humans who passed. So thank you very much for asking that question, because that's something near and dear to my heart. I appreciate that. And Lisa, who's next on our list of people to answer a question for?
Okay, I'm going to do the next person, but before we do, I'd like to interject a little bit for Lori, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
I answered her questions actually in the chat room, but because I do mediumship and I do animal communication, I was telling Lori that I have a dog, Cuddles, who died 10 years ago, that I'm constantly tripping over her energy in the kitchen because she was always underfoot in the kitchen.
And
so yes, they can come through without a medium bringing them through. They come through at any point. And as you know, the dog that I have now actually will bring through other animals that have crossed.
Yeah.
So if Lori has an animal who's passed and she has another animal at home, she may see the animal that has passed within the parameter or even within the animal that she has at home, because they do share.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's its entire topic. And one of these days, Lisa and I are definitely going to co-author a book on that because we're both animal lovers. Lisa, thank you so much for sharing that. That's great.
The next person I'm calling on is Annette. Annette, you're unmuted.
Hello, Annette. Can you hear me? Annette, hello. Annette, are you
Hi.
there? Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Hi.
Hi. Annette, what would you like?
With you?
Well, I'm happy to speak with you too. Annette, what do you have that you're most grateful for this evening?
Well, this year I've had some new friends come into my life, so I've been very grateful for that.
I love it. That's wonderful. And what sign are you, Annette?
Aquarius.
And you know, I've got to interject this for everybody. Aquarius is the sign of friendship.
Okay.
So that really is appropriate this evening. And Annette, what is your big question for this evening? What would you like to know about?
Well, just like the stars are telling us, I am at that point in my life where I just don't know what direction to go in. I have all these choices. I have not been working for a year by choice, and now it's time that I want to start working again. And I don't know if I want to go back into management, which is the career I've had for 30 years, or go back into social services, or even get into the arts. And I don't know where I want to move to, because we're going to sell our house this year and we can move somewhere, and I'm just totally lost. Don't know what direction I'm going to go in at all.
Oh, Annette, can I be mean?
Sure.
Has anybody ever called you a control freak?
Pardon me?
Has anybody ever called you a control freak? Like, you know, just a little bit.
Usually I'm married to is a control freak.
And I would say that old adage, it takes one to know one, in it.
Okay.
Honestly, and I really understand your dilemma and your confusion and your fear of the unknown and your need to have all of this completely carved in granite before you take that next step, because all of us control freaks, I'm one too, need to know that when we take that next step, we're controlling every last minute. There's no unsure footing ahead of us. And right now in your life, everything is uncertainty. And so you're afraid to allow things to unfold, you see? And
Oh, yes.
what's so interesting, as soon as you said that you're planning on selling the house this year, that's when I realized why nothing is certain, you see? Because until the house sells, and it will, and you'll get your price, okay? It's going to be good. But until that house actually sells, all of these things that are getting ready to explode for you can't be unleashed. And so
Exactly.
you want to plan that you're going to go back to school and you're going to go back into the job market and you're going to do this, 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 and this. But until the house sells, you and your husband aren't going to be sure where you're moving to.
Absolutely.
So how can you be, so you're realizing what you're doing, you're putting the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse rather. How can you start to really focus in on what job you want to go back into when it might be in a different state?
Right, exactly.
So you're the gal who needs to let go and allow things to really become supercharged and go where they're going to go. And I've got something else I've got to tell you about, is that, you know, and pardon me for being this direct with you on the air, but you and your husband have very different ideas about how this future is going to unfold.
Oh, that's so true.
So this is why I said, did you know you're being a little bit of a control freak here? Because you see, what you're doing is you're saying, I need to have this all carved in granite, because that way he's really tied in with what I know is going to happen and I can feel secure. And what I know is that he is going to wait for it to happen, and then he's going to scoop up all that free energy and he's going to run away with it like the horse out of the barn. And you're going to be sitting there saying, whoops. The only way.
That's very true. In fact, he says the first thing he wants to do is like rent an apartment for 3 months and just regroup and figure out what we're doing next. And that's what makes me like kind of crazy. It's like, ah, like really unknown.
But do you know something? And this is an outsider's point of view. That sounds like really good thinking. Because you see, you and he really aren't on the same page right now. You've been to a lot of different places. You've got a lot of irons in the fire. You've also got something else going on here. There are a lot of commitments that you have in your heart, that you would want to move near this person, but you would want to move near that person too. And you can't move near them both because they don't live near each other. Okay? And so you are at that point where to make any firm decisions one way or the other is going to funnel you into a direction that once you've started in that direction, you may not be able to change. So you see, what's in your husband's mind is, let's wait until we can sell the house, and I'm assuming there's a kind of a retirement, because it feels much bigger than just the sale of the house, okay? There's this big shift that's being built in here, and he's wanting to get that shift done and then regroup and say, what feels right? I'm with him.
You're right on there.
Yeah, I'm with him. I really think you've got to pay attention to this guy, Annette. And I think that your fear of the unknown, your fear of not having every last detail planned, is giving you cold feet. But you realize that if you do it his way, you probably won't
Yes.
make any mistakes. But if you do it your
Well,
way, if you do it your way, you may be halfway, halfway down the road and saying, oops, wrong turn. How do I get back there? Do you see? So my suggestion to you, first of all, I want to focus on the house. I do see the house selling, and I think that's really where your energy has to go. And that's what you need to make your imminent project, okay? And along the way, remember, we create our world with our thoughts. And you have this insecurity, and I'll tell you exactly what it is, and you need to discuss this with the husband. The insecurity is that once you get out of the house and get into an apartment that you're now stuck in for a year, or even a 6-month lease that could turn into a year or 5 years or 10 years, you're afraid that all of the money you've invested in the house and in the retirement and everything else is going to get frittered away in fun, and that you're going to lose your stability and your security. Now, there's nothing wrong with those feelings that you have, and you need to discuss them with your husband. You got it?
Absolutely. Everything you're saying is perfect.
Yeah. And once you hit him between the eyes with that, he'll squirm a little bit because you're right on, and what you're thinking is he wants to set himself free of responsibility, but you want security. And you both can have what you want, but you've got to talk to each other. So I hope that helps. And you and your husband are great candidates for my webinar, the one on changing time. Okay. So
Yes.
hope
Okay.
you're there. It's great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have some good holidays.
You too. You too. I hope that they are the best yet. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lisa, who is next on our list?
Okay, if I can find her. Excuse me. We have our second Lori tonight, not the same one you just spoke to. Lori W., you are unmuted.
Hello, Lori.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very excited to talk to you. I'm good. How are you doing this evening?
I'm very good. Happy holidays. And
Happy holidays to you.
Lori, what's your thing you're most grateful for this evening?
The thing I'm most grateful for this evening, I think I'm going to have to say my family.
Especially this time of year, that's very special. I'm glad.
Yes,
you
I have
those
3
special
kids and 4 grandkids, and I'm very grateful and thankful for all of them.
Wonderful. And what's your specific, well, what's your sun sign, first of all, and what's your specific question?
My sun sign is, I'm a Scorpio, and my specific question is, I am just newly starting to try to develop some of my own psychic intuition, and I would like to communicate directly with my team. Do you have any words of wisdom for me?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely yes. First off, as a Scorpio in tonight's psychic hour, your sign is occupying the 4th house, which is the home. So, of course, you're looking at things that are close to home, and the home being your own self as well as your home and your family. That reflects everything that you're saying and talking about this evening. Saturn is also still in Scorpio. It's just 2 degrees away. Here it is in the 5th house of children, just 2 degrees away from moving into Sagittarius. You are getting ready to open up and to expand and to have a lot more freedom in your life. And I think that your internal self that's saying, I want to develop my psychic abilities more, you recognize that you've always had these gifts and you want to be able to open up and expand it now, and it is your time, and you're recognizing that. And I want to point that out because that tells me, are you ready for this? You are already in touch with your team.
Well, I know they're there, and I know that they do specific things for me during the day, you know, like just things are, it seems like a coincidence, but it's not, you know, like I'll hit all the lights green or something, and I have to laugh to myself because I know that they're, you know, there, so.
And here's the first thing that you need to do to get in touch with them, and that is, and you're already doing this because they're telling me you are, and that is to meditate. And the more,
yes, I am.
And you're good at it. They're telling me that, you know, you are good at it. You started out thinking, oh, I'll never be able to do this, and it's falling into place and you're doing a good job with it. The more you meditate, the clearer a channel for that information you're going to become. Okay? And it really, you're going to see more of those lights. You're going to see more of those where you know who's on the other end of the phone, or a question gets asked of you and you don't even have to look it up. You just automatically intuit the answer and it's correct. So you're going to be getting more and more of this information the more you meditate. Earlier in my webinar series that I have going right now, I did a webinar on meeting your guides. It's a video download. I'm going to suggest, just like this, where you do it's a PowerPoint and then it's my voice, and there is a guided meditation in there. I'm going to suggest that if you haven't listened to that, that you go back and purchase that on my site, because that's going to get you directly in touch with your guides. Okay, and that's what.
Okay. What,
yeah, you're really.
what was the name of that?
Lisa will type it into the chat room, but it's, I actually have a CD, Meeting Your Guides, and it's good, but the webinar where we discussed it and we did it online, that's actually far better. And so I think it's 2 months back's webinar, and it's on my website as Meet Your Guide, and it's a PowerPoint video download. Okay.
Okay.
And
Sure.
like I said, Lisa will type into the question and answer. So if you read down there, you'll be able to see exactly where to get that. But they're telling me that you're right on track. And now your father is passed, isn't he?
I'm sorry, what?
Your father is passed, correct?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, because he is the primary guide, okay, that you connect with.
Okay.
Are you aware of that?
No, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, well, now you know. And one of the reasons why you've been encouraged to do the meditation and to be able to make these connections as strongly as you are is that your dad is acting as the gatekeeper to hold that door open for you. Okay? So when you think about him or you feel him around you, recognize that he's giving you all the help that you need to move in the direction that you're choosing right now. And that's going to be good for you and everyone around you. And I'm also getting a little whisper here that says, this can be talked about on the psychic hour and with certain people in your family, but you shouldn't yet really be talking too much about it to people on the outside, because you're too new. And you will, when you talk about it, get opposition. And the opposition will be enough to cause you self-doubt. So until you really have a very certain focus within you, talk about this only to the people that you already know will be supportive, okay?
Okay, yes, and what you're saying makes total sense to me.
Good, good.
Yes.
I'm so excited that you shared that. And if you're close to the Tampa area or you can travel, please take advantage of my BOGO and come with a friend to the seminar in January. You wouldn't believe how it will step your psychic ability up. Whatever your ability is at right now, it'll multiply it by 100 times. It's that big a difference. It's huge. Okay?
That's wonderful. That's great. And I would just like to say, right now I listened to and I'm going back and reading John Edwards' book, Infinite Quest, and that is where I came across your name at. And I've got to tell you, it happened like, once again, I think it was an intervention from my guides, because your name popped up and I looked at your website and this webinar was available and I registered. It just all fell into place.
And you're fell into place, yep. And I, years back when I actually owned Star Child, the New Age store, long before John was even on his first TV show, so nobody really knew about me through him or any other way other than if they stopped in my store. And I would have people get off the highway, Route 75 in Florida, and travel down this road that they had no idea where they were going, and drive to my store and come in and say, I don't really know why I'm here, but I know I'm supposed to be here, and meet me and get a reading with me or come to a class and say, now I know why I'm here. So that doesn't surprise me. I know. It's been going on.
It's amazing.
One time. Yep. Well, I'm glad to have you aboard. Very glad.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep. And I think you, I have to tell you, I think that you have found, just look at the chart here. I know you don't know astrology. I know you don't know astrology. But here you are. You're at the meditation, form your own space. This is the bottom of the chart here. Scorpio is here in that fourth cusp. But Saturn in Scorpio is just over the cusp, or just at the on the cusp, just before we move into the fifth house, which is that launching of your creative ability and your creative skills and the new beginnings of that childlike person within you. You're at the point where you're ready to unleash these things that you've been holding back for a very long time, things that have always been there, but that you've allowed to be held back because of the influence of people around you. And now you're ready to develop. It's like a switch has been turned on. So
yeah,
congratulations. I think you're going to find
Well,
great joy in this.
well, great. Thank you. It's already brought a lot of peace in my life, and I can only see it getting better.
Good. Good. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And Lise, who's next?
Okay, I'm looking for Kimberly. Kimberly, you are unmuted.
Hello.
Hello, Kimberly. What
How
do
are
you
you?
have? I'm good, thank you. And what do you have to be most grateful for this evening?
I'm grateful for a lot of new changes that came my way since June. Some I'm not so sure about, and I'm grateful for getting the chance to speak with you.
Well, thank you. And I'm grateful that you are here to share your experiences this evening. So thank you for being here.
Thank
And
you.
tell me, what is your sun sign?
I am actually a Virgo.
There's got to be one Virgo in every crowd just to help us all keep our feet on the ground. How do you like that? But then you have to keep your feet on the ground first, and lately that's becoming a little difficult, isn't it?
Very difficult.
I know. And, you know, just so you can understand that, you're going through something personally that every Virgo in the world is going through. So don't take it so personally. I know you don't know astrology, but you know a little bit, okay? If you look at our horary chart here, there's Virgo down here on the third cusp. It's at 24 degrees, that cusp. So most of the sign Virgo's in the second house. And if you look across the chart, there's good old Neptune in Pisces. You see that thing that looks like a trident? Neptune in
Yes, I do.
Pisces is opposing your sun sign, and that's true of every Virgo on the planet. And Neptune has this way of sending in a fog to cover where you want to put your feet. So you are normally, naturally, this really grounded, practical, see the world as it is person. And then in the last 2 years or 3 years, Neptune has come in, and it's sort of erased everything you knew to be true. And so now you're going through, it's kind of like a, you know, blind man's bluff. You're in the dark and you're feeling to see.
Yes.
Okay, and every Virgo is doing that. You still aren't going to trust it unless you can see it, feel it, and touch it there, you know. But
Very
you're
true.
having to do it in the dark, and that really is unnerving. However, you've been doing a good job. That's what they're telling me. You've been doing a good job, so keep it up.
It doesn't feel like it some days.
Well, do you know what it's teaching you? You have never been in a period in your life that is so strongly helping you to get in touch with self. Because when think about this, when you're walking through a dark room, what do you have to do? You have to really hold yourself in and really get very in touch and in control with your body, because you don't want to make a wrong move. At the same time that you've got to turn up all your senses, your hearing, and you've got to strain to see in the dark a little bit, and you want to be sensitive to the air currents. So you're really paying attention very strongly to what's around you while you're developing this really, really powerful core personality. Now, isn't that what's going on in your life in every respect right now?
Yes, very true.
So this transit is teaching you to know yourself through and through, to get so strong and centered in yourself that nothing can knock you off balance, that the slightest breeze coming through your world attracts your attention. You say, not self. I got to see where that's coming from. But that wasn't mine, you see? So the transit is a difficult one, but boy, oh boy, is it teaching you to get in touch with your world and to get in charge of your world. So that's great.
That it is.
Yep. Now, what is it that you'd like to know about this evening?
Regarding employment, I left a position that I really loved, but there's been a strong sense since June, since I left it, that I really want to go back to it, and there's a possibility that I can, and I'm not sure if it's true that what I'm feeling or if I'm just holding on to something I need to let go. Finances are really tough because of the decision I made. I'm leaving that job. So I need to kind of get balanced again. I'm feeling really unbalanced where I'm at right now, and finances are really tough.
Well, I think you've answered your own question. I'm going to repeat it back to you so you can hear what I just heard. Since you left that job, you've been off balance. Finances are really tough. You haven't really found something you like as much. You have an opportunity to go back to that job. Finances would get better. You know you would really love the job.
Yes.
Did you hear your answer?
Yeah. I
Okay.
need to go back, and I want to go back.
Yeah, but and when you said that there is an opportunity to go back, why do you have this hesitation? Why are you fearful of that opportunity? Because that opportunity is real, okay? But it has a very small time frame. Be aware of that.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a time to, when you pay attention to how it feels in here, does it feel right to stay where you are? Does it feel right to go back? Look at your feeling, not what I'm saying. And if your feeling says go back, jump, call them tomorrow. If your feeling says, oh, I don't know, there were some things about it that didn't feel right, then say, okay, this was the chance, but that's not where I'm going. But you make that decision, okay? Because only, this is what your biggest lesson is, only in here is what is really going to tell you what's real, okay? I can't tell you that. The people in your family can't tell you that. Your best friend can't tell you that. You know what's real, okay?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Did that help?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And I'm just asking my guides if you're going to go back because I'm curious. And you know, what they're telling me, and I'm just going to leave you with this, what they're telling me is that you might go back. They're not sure because you're not sure yet. But if you go back, it's a stepping stone to something else. If you go back, you will leave again. But you will leave again looking for something entirely different because you're on a new track. So apparently in this last 6 months, you have changed very dramatically.
Wow.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that may help you to make the decision. But the going back looks like it's a stepping stone to something new. If you don't go back, do you still get that stepping stone? And my guides are saying not as easily. You have to work harder for it.
Wow. Okay.
Okay?
That's awesome.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good luck
Thank
to
you.
you. Enjoy.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too.
Thank
And
you.
my friends, I had another email sent to me earlier this evening, and I know that this is an email that is something which is on so many of your minds this evening. So I'm going to share the basics of it. This is from a Michelle, and she had similar questions about finances to what all of you are having. And just as a very general answer to cover everybody's answers in the finances, I'm going to tell you something I shared with a very close family member of my own just recently. If you see resources around you as finite, as limited, then everything that you do in your life is going to be self-limiting. If you recognize that the universe has limitless abundance to deliver to you, then everything that you need to acquire what you need for the next step in your life will be provided. But you've got to change your thinking from the limited thinking to the limitless thinking, okay? Now that may mean that you're operating on a very tiny budget to get by, but you still have to have the limitless thinking, and that you know that's only temporary because you know that abundance is all around you and it's coming your way already. You see, you've got to put yourself into that future. One of the things that my guides have said, and I just laugh, it's so funny. They say, you know, when the U.S. government needs more money, they just print more. Okay? We really don't have gold or silver backing the dollar anymore. And everybody says, yeah, well, that's why the dollar is worth so little. And I say, well, every currency in the world is the same. And the U.S. dollar is still holding its value pretty darn well out there. We print more money. So in your own life, what can you do to expand your abundance? And I'm not saying that you should go and print more money because people get arrested for counterfeiting, but it's that concept. It's that concept of knowing that what you need can be provided. You just have to open to accept it instead of wanting it your own way. We too often set limits on ourselves because we're only willing to accept it the way we're ordering it up. So there's the universe, for example, giving us this wonderful place to live that's in the basement of a relative, but we're holding out because we want that big mansion on the hill, you see? So we may make our steps forward in small steps, but the universe is always going to provide exactly what we need. if we're focused on what our need is. And along that same vein, Michelle also asked, when is she going to become the lender to people in her life, the one who can lend the money instead of the person who's always needing the loan? And I do have a suggestion here, a strong one. When you are needing a loan and someone steps forward and gives you that money, in your heart, recognize and appreciate the gift. Don't have the sense of resistance that says, oh, here we go again, I had to ask for this. Appreciate that and say, oh my God, this is so wonderful. I can't wait until I'm giving back to you. And I'm going to be the one giving back. And I'm going to have this wonderful feeling that you are getting by being able to give that loan. We create our world with our minds, but we power the action of that creation with our emotions. So when you feel good about the fact that your relative or friend was able to give you the loan, when you really appreciate it, you're powering your own ability to give that forward to the next person. And every opportunity that you have to give yourself, and I'm not saying you should give away everything you have, but when you have an opportunity to give someone with something that's special from you to them, don't pass that by. Do that, because every act of sharing and giving, especially at this holiday season, helps you to begin to recirculate that limitless currency that the universe has. Limitless in its energy and in every single aspect. But you've got to actually live it to be able to start making that happen for you. Okay, resistance isn't going to bring it to you, because resistance brings limits. When I spoke with that gal earlier and I said, stop being afraid. Look at the sale of the house and the moving forward and make plans for that. Stop being afraid of the future. Live more in the now and be ready for all the opportunities the future has to offer you. You see, that's changing from fearful response, which limits, to open, accepting response, which brings in abundance. Okay? So if I can just encourage you to change that little tiny dynamic in your persona, your whole world is going to change. Okay? That's my gift to you folks this Christmas, because that advice is huge. Lisa, who's next on our list?
Okay, I'm going to go to the top of the list and unmute Adriana. Adriana, you're unmuted.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Hello, Adriana. How are you this evening?
I'm very glad to speaking with you again. We had the chance to speak last month, and I wanted to speak with you really bad this time.
Good. Adriana, do you have anything to report from last month? Are you further along?
Excuse me?
Are you further along in your endeavors?
Yeah, well, I spoke with you about a absolutely super close friend having a heart attack, and I went through some prayer on him in the hospital bed, if you recall my phone call.
I remember.
You told me not to pray if he didn't want to, but somehow when I was praying, still things continued to happen without me pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what happened. He passed away like 3 weeks ago. But somehow I came across a book that was pretty much allowing me to use the Ouija, which I created myself with some ABC words, pretty basic. I was very hesitated on using it because of the mysticism that it has. But I went ahead, something really strongly was telling me, go ahead and talk and try to get a hold of him. Because I had the chance to speak to Deborah King in her show, and she said he was in purgatory. So that really, really triggered me to be able to find a little more where he was. And anyway, so he came across through the little board that I created, and he was telling me where he was. Actually, he confirmed he was in purgatory, or he was in a place he was not expecting to be, or he did, as the first thing happened, he had no idea what happened to him. So it's like his soul was totally lost. He had no idea where he was because he had to be disconnected. His oxygen was disconnected, and he suddenly passed away without knowing. He had an addiction, very strong addiction issues, drug addiction issues, and he told me that he was being seen, or he had two demons holding him, or he had two entities with him, and he couldn't go anywhere. But through my conversations, like 2 days after that, he told me that he was free. The demons left because of the love that he had for me. Those spirits had let him finally go, and he ascended. I followed his state for about a week. In the one of the few times I spoke with him, he had already seen the light, and he told me he became an angel. So that was like, wow. To me, it was really shocking. Said his name changed, and his name was Love, and that he chose to be from now on my angel, or be with me. So all of this is new to me. I was very like losing it because I have no idea what to do out of these, and I believe in it, but I have nobody to talk about it.
Adriana,
So that's what
I am going to advise extreme caution, okay?
Yeah.
If you were my student, well, obviously you didn't listen to me, okay? And I'm grateful that you called back in to talk to me, because it gives me an opportunity to talk to everybody else, because we all have these kinds of experiences and opportunities. I believe that when my guides said, don't send the healing to him, it's because they recognized that it was his desire to pass and that you were supposed to stay out of it. The point there, and I'm going to address each one of your points, okay? But the first concept here is that people have a right to choose their death. When you do what I do and what Lisa does, as long as we've done it, you recognize that death is merely the flip side of life. That's all it is. It's the flip side of life. And if somebody is choosing to let go, and he was choosing death as opposed to staying alive in that addictive tendency, it was time to step back, let go, and let him do that transition. Now, I have no doubt that the psychic that you talked to who said he was in purgatory, purgatory is an interesting concept. I'm going to encourage you to watch an old movie with Robin Williams in it. It's called What Dreams May Come. And in that movie, they show you all these different heavens that Robin Williams, after he kills himself because his wife killed herself, it shows all these different places on the other side that you can go between. And some of them are beautiful, and some of them aren't, and some of them are purgatory, and some of them look like hell. And what I want to share with you is that we are, just like we create with our mind our realities here on earth, when we cross over to the other side, our belief system creates what we're going to land in on the other side. So this gentleman apparently did believe that when he passed, he was going to end in purgatory. And so he went into whatever his definition or his concept of purgatory was, which his concept was two entities holding him where he couldn't move or couldn't get away, okay? So that's not so very different from what he was in life, where he was addicted and he couldn't get away. So his purgatory was being held and couldn't get away. But the fact is that whether you helped him through your prayers, which is a great way to help, or through a Ouija board, which is not a good way to help because that puts you at risk, my friend, he would have gotten help on the other side as well. People get help from entities, good people on the other side, as well as from people on this side that pray for them, that help them to get out of those self-created prisons. Because on the other side, there really is no prison. We can go and become and be whoever we want. It's like when we come into life, we're being put into a shoehorn gets us here. Our energy is far bigger than our little tiny physical body. And when our energy comes into this body, it's tight and it's restricted. We get on the other side, we can become and flow and allow our energy to expand in any way that we choose. And we do have help, both from people here who pray and from people there. So I have no doubt that your friend was eventually going to be helped. Now, I'm not minimizing your desire to help. I think that was wonderful. But I also want you to know, and I think you did help because you're very gifted, but I also want to say that you put yourself very severely at risk because you do not have the tools to protect yourself. And so I can only tell you that your own angels, your own higher self, and your own guides and helpers were really working overtime. Even though you made that Ouija board yourself, it was still a Ouija board. And when you ask for help from something, anything out there, or to contact the spirit of your dead friend, you could have opened to anything. Anything in the world could have come in because you were not protected. So my point is, please, 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 please do not use that Ouija board again unless you really study what's in my Psychic Development Level 3, which is all about the protection that you need to use if you use a Ouija board, okay? Or anything like it.
Right.
Okay?
I did stop. I stopped because I saw myself very confused and already like being on Earth, but I was not here. I was always thinking about what was happening. So I chose not to do it anymore. And he even himself told me, do not do this anymore. This is, we are not allowed to talk to you because it attracts demons.
Okay.
Then I stopped.
And I agree, but I'm also going to take this another step forward. Unless you should go into complete protection and re-meet him as a guide, when you do my meditation on meeting your guides, don't let him in. Because guess what? He's a person who in life was very addicted, and he's got his own journey on the other side. And when you're opening, it might not even be him. It could be somebody masquerading as him. Or it could be him still having the yearnings for another fix on this level. So that's not a person who is probably going to be your best guide. You have far better guides than that. So tell him thanks, but no thanks, and send him on his way and find your real guides. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
Right, but is it possible that they become just a ray of love for us after they pass away?
Just that? Away with love, absolutely. Adrian,
okay.
Do you have a specific question in the now that I can answer for you?
It was just probably any more studies as you're telling me, because I do want to eventually get into mediumship, but a specific question, it will be, I have been studying for so long and I really don't know where my niche is.
Well, Adrian, right now is a great time to get involved. Go to my website. Between now and midnight tonight, I'm running these phenomenal deals. If you want to study with me in person, I'm starting my next Psychic Development series in January. It starts on the 21st through the 25th. And I'm having a buy one, get one, so you can even bring a friend to that for free. So one of you pays, the other gets it for free. And that begins the series that would go, the level 1 and 2 are in January, level 3 and 4 are in March, level 5 and 6 are in May. And by the time we get to level 6, you have a complete foundation in all different areas of psychic development, and you're doing mediumship and you're doing things like soul retrieval, which is what you were working to do and had a degree of success with in working through this Ouija board. Like I said, your guides were really working overtime, and you obviously are very gifted to even be able to do what you did, but you did put yourself so much at risk. I wouldn't want you to do that again. I cherish who you are.
Okay.
I don't want to lose this wonderful person, Adrian. Okay?
Okay.
And also,
would it be the same if I do it I live in Virginia? So doing it I was about to click on buying the 6 levels on internet. Would you recommend just in person?
Well, you can do it. We have so many different techniques. You can do it in person, which a lot of people say. In fact, on my Facebook page, one of my students recently wrote, that taking this, he took the classes on Blu-ray video. They're now available on those downloads as a BOGO, the video downloads. Great way to buy them because it's a lot cheaper than buying them one at a time.
Right.
And so if you can't come, do it that way. But what he said is it's as if, you know, taking them in person is stepping them up 100 times. So it's the same information, but because you're there, you've got that direct interaction, and it does make a difference. So you might even want to do some in person and some on video, if you can travel. But if you want to get their certificate and you're taking them, you know, online or as a video or a Blu-ray, go online onto my website, sandyanastasi.com, and read up on it, because to get the certificate, you can do that, but then you would get coaching with Lisa, okay? So you'd have direct one-on-one interaction all the way through. But perhaps you don't want the certificate. If you just want to study on your own, then just get the courses and work with them on your own. So that's your choice. But I highly recommend doing it that way. Also, since you do live in Virginia, be aware that Sandy Peters is one of my certified instructors for the system, and she lives in West Virginia. That's not that far from you. So you can click on my teachers section, my Anastasi system section of my website, and that will give you a link to Sandy Peters, and you can find out where she is. And that's another way to study in person. Okay?
Oh, thank you. And I have to say, you are the best teacher I have ever had. I have been in this journey for over 2 years, and you have the best to teach. You cover every angle, and thank you so much for all of your efforts.
Well, and thank you for that compliment. That's one of the reasons I do it. I'm so grateful for people like you who are going to learn it right, and then get out there and do it and make use of it out there in the world, and get everybody on the same page, because this is, I believe what we're doing here is tomorrow's science. I think it's that important. So thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone who's online with me tonight. I wish I had more time. I don't. But if you still have questions, you can send them through. And Lisa and I, during the next month, will do our best to answer them during our free time and over the holidays. So we'll still try to get those questions answered for you, even if you didn't have a chance to get them in here this evening. It has been a pleasure, as always, to speak with so many of you. I'm wishing all of you a very, very happy holiday. If you've read my editorial, you know that I'm a child of all religions. And so whether you're celebrating Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or Wiccan holiday of Yule, any holiday that you have, this is just a wonderful time of the year. And I wish you all the best time. Thank you so much. Good night.